We're going live.
I guess that means we're here, huh?
I don't really believe it.
You sure?
I don't believe it. But I'll pretend that I believe it. Hi, Kayla Lords.
John Brownstone.
Of Loving BDSM, where we help kinksters like you have happy, healthy power exchange relationships.
Mm-hmm.
This is the weekly live stream where we record our podcast, available on all major podcast apps. We are here 8 minutes before our official start time. If you arrive after this live stream, but before I put timestamps in, and don't like this section where we just ramble for however long, fast forward by 8 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, y'all. Hi, Lady Blooding. Hi, Sassy Vanessa.
Hi, folks.
We're here. Hi, Marty.
Coffee in hand.
Coffee in hand. And I am very happy you got an ad because they already demonetized us before we started. They were like, oh, I saw that word in your title there.
Yeah.
No monetization for you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Pacifist P. Hi, Silent Wing.
Hello. Welcome. Good to see you all. Yeah.
Hi, Les. And I am taking my first sip of actual caffeine for the day. It's weird without sweetener.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not awful,
Mm-hmm.
but it is weird. But I'm trying a thing. So.
Well, you know, it's kind of strange drinking because I've started drinking my coffee, my hot coffee that I have in the morning. Mm-hmm. I drink it black now. Mm-hmm. No sweetener, no cream, just black. Mm-hmm. And it's actually a little weird when I have the iced coffee with
cream
in it.
And, well, and sweetener, yeah.
And sweetener, yeah.
Hi, Eric.
So.
OMG. Yay. Love a holiday delivery day.
Right.
What the heck? We hope you love it.
Have fun.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay. Oh, yay. Hi, Apron Bow.
Hello.
So, yeah, I'm going without sweetener more and more, but using my heavy cream. It's actually not my heavy cream. This would be Starbucks heavy cream this time. So yeah, we're trying a thing. We're trying a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I mean, the coffee we make at home, the cold brew we make at home, I can actually go without sweetener, and it's not that bad because we've gone through a lot of coffee and we know what we like now.
Yeah.
And what we're currently using, we mostly like. We're gonna graduate to what we love when we're done with this stuff. But I don't need sweetener in it if I have enough cream. Starbucks, normally I desperately need sweetener, but trying a thing.
Yeah.
Yep,
Lady Bloodling,
Death Wish. We've got a couple people got us into it.
Yeah.
I bought you some a couple years ago, and then a listener sent us some several months ago, and we went, where has this been all our lives?
And Angel even recommended it.
Yes,
Yeah.
our friend Angel, Professor Sex, they recommended it as well. And yeah, it's delicious.
It is.
It's
it is.
delicious.
I was actually a little afraid of it at first because of the name, Death Wish Coffee, you know.
I know, and I got you the
octane.
Valhalla stuff, and you were like, what the hell did you bring home?
Right.
It's delicious.
Am I going to start swinging a hammer, you know?
I mean, I find that sexy, so you go right on ahead. No, it's delicious.
But it is great coffee.
I think I'll be able to drink that black.
My top coffee prior to that had always been the Sumatra. That any Sumatra blend has always been my favorite. That's been knocked down a notch now after trying Death Wish. Yeah.
My favorite, which we can't find in stores, but we haven't looked online, and that's where we need to look, is Starbucks Guatemala.
Yeah. That's another
blend.
good coffee, yeah.
And that one I think I could almost drink black, but Death Wish, yeah, knocks everything out. And then I found this little I don't know what they call them when they're coffee roaster, whatever, coffee place on Etsy.
Yes.
And that was legit good.
That was really
they
good
do
too.
flavored coffees that actually taste like the flavor they say they are.
And I would not mind getting some of that just to have a little something.
Now, do I remember the name of them right now?
Of course not.
No, but we're in the butt rub. I can look on Etsy and tell you the name of them. Give me a second. Let's see. Other folks have shown up as well. Hi, Adriana. Hi, Faye. Hi, Terry. Okay, there we go. Yay.
So, but yeah. It's
I too can no longer do that much caffeine. I mean, overall in a day, I can do one. I think I could do 1 cup of it a day, Death Wish, and I'd be fine. But I can't drink. I'm choosing to drink less caffeine, so I drink a lot of decaf now, which is sad, but I do it.
Now I will have to admit another
Coffee Nook.
Coffee Nook
On Etsy. Coffee, the word coffee, and then Nook, Nook. Their flavors are good.
Well, I guess
So
if these small brewers of the IPA beers and stuff like that, they're called microbreweries. Would those be considered micro roasters?
I don't know, probably.
Yeah.
Like, look, coffee might be our love language, and we might be obsessed with how much coffee we drink in a day and all that. We don't know enough. We really don't.
Mm-hmm. And the only other coffee I like, which I have not had in a long time, Kona.
Yeah, I know
Kona
you
coffee.
like that too.
Yeah.
The fur babies are good.
They're doing good.
Lola went to Starbucks with us today.
Yeah, she got
a big puppuccino. Normally they do those little like
tiny
sample cups, and they did a tall for her.
They stepped her up
and filled it.
Yeah.
I was like, the vet's already going to be mad at me tomorrow that she's overweight. I can tell she's overweight. I can literally grab her rolls now. But sure, we'll feed it to her. We fed it to her.
Oh yeah, and she got every.
She did, and then licked what fell on the floorboard off. I was like, she's a carpet licker. Don't let that mouth kiss you anytime soon, because she's licking the floorboard. She was licking the back of the driver's seat.
Yeah.
She got her whipped cream. Thank you very much. I even bought whipped cream to have here, sugar-free, whole, like, actual heavy cream, blah, blah, whipped cream.
Yeah.
And I give her, like, little baby puppuccinos, because we were, cutting back on how often we were going and whatever. No, this was a big honking thing of it. This was the good stuff. So, craft
coffee.
Thank
okay.
you, Silent.
Thank you, Silent.
So, you know what, Pastos Pete? I did not naturally think of Etsy either. I was doing Christmas shopping, and I knew I wanted to do it from Etsy for JB because I knew I could find slightly more personalized things. And I was like, what can I find that is coffee themed or related? So I just did a search for coffee, and a whole bunch of stuff came up.
Oh, wow.
Several craft coffee folks, and that ended up being a place that had really good reviews and flavors. I was like, and you can get sample packs. You can get small ones to see if you even like it. And I was like, perfect.
Yeah, that was where you got me that mocha flavor.
Mocha, and what was the other one? I can't remember what the other one was.
I can't remember the other one. It was good, but the mocha just really stood out to me. That we
were less interested in flavored coffees because we had tried several from different places, and it just never tasted right, but that was good. And hi, Taste You, and thank you. Yes, these are my work glasses. I got these with the blue light blockers, and my other glasses are my everyday glasses, and everybody other than you, everybody else in this house, including my family when I texted them, likes those because they look like what I've been wearing for 5 or 6 years. This is the style I wore before that. And this style, we both agree, I look like a sassy librarian who's probably going to take her hair down and, like, fuck you over the return desk or something. And I'm here for it. Look, I'm just making sure the demonetization sticks, okay?
Right? If it's going to hit, do it with style. Do it with flair. So, and these are my main. I got 2 pair.
You did. You got 1 pair from the
Optical Outlet.
Right, and then the other from Zenny. Massive fan of Zenny. I also have super cute sunglasses.
Yeah, I was, I'm always been a big fan of buying stuff online, but very skeptical about glasses.
I was very worried, yeah.
I'm a fan. I love those glasses.
Yep.
Being out in the heat in the shop, all the dust and everything, I am a destroyer of glasses.
Yeah, and spending $700 on a pair of damn glasses is ridiculous.
Right. So I got an inexpensive pair for the shop from Zenny, and I love them. They are great. They're comfortable. I see well. I'm real happy with them. I would definitely go back and get another pair from them again if needed.
So, Silent Winged, I have this pair with no nose pads. These have been very comfortable. This is a style I'm very familiar with. I wore this type for years and years. And my other one, I had nose pads. And I was shocked I did not have to adjust these out of the box. Like, they arrived early. I popped them on, and I know that's probably a little bit of pure luck, but they fit. They were great.
Yeah.
Freaking love Zenny. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, it is 12:01, so
Yes.
we are officially here. The topic for today, if you can tell from the title, we're talking about the importance of empathy. We feel that empathy in general as a life skill, good to have, but we'll talk about it through the lens of power exchange. Our shirts today, mine says "Yes, Daddy" right up there on the boobs. Can you see? Let me lift my boobs. Okay. And yours says, "Because I said so, little girl."
That's right, baby girl.
I love it. Sorry. And we did link both of these shirts down below in the description box.
Yeah.
And we have a coupon code. They're from Kinky Cloth. Yes, we're affiliates. If you make a purchase, we make a small commission. But the coupon code is better than most of the coupon codes they give out. It's Kinky Kayla, 25% off. They have tons of stuff. So go forth if you so desire. If you enjoy what you see at any point today, watching this, we love a thumbs up. If you have not already and you somehow want more of this, we have not scared you off, please consider subscribing.
And when you subscribe, ring that notification bell so you get updates of new content.
This is the second time today we've said that because we recorded a video, and every time now that you say that, in my head the song Ring My Bell, plays in my head. I will not sing it because nobody wants that. But also, if you like what we do so much that you want to make sure we keep doing it, but also you'd like perks you can't get anywhere else, including a Discord server, you can join us on Patreon. It's patreon.com/KaylaLords, but the link is also in the description box because it always is. So, we are ready to go, and you can hit the button.
Okay. There we go. I'm gone. Girl? You want me to do what I did earlier again?
Grab me by the hair and smack my face? Yes, please.
Yeah, right.
What's a bitch got to do?
Be overly sassy.
Okay. It's the glasses. So, before we get into today's topic, just your weekly reminder. JB is a woodworker, a kinky toy maker. I am his shop elf. We do all of those things over at thekinkery.com. It's a store. You can shop. Ta-da, I did the reminder.
There you go.
We will not harp on it. We will get into this episode. So, empathy is a word that gets thrown around a lot. I think it's a very important thing. I'm going to attempt to preemptively say this because this happens every time we talk about broad topics and things that certainly show up in, quote, real life. I'm not gonna lie, my DS is real life, but whatever. Real life. Air quotes around that. Yes, we know empathy is important in all parts of life.
Yeah.
The world would be better if more of us had a little bit more empathy. That is true. But today, because we are a kink podcast, we're going to talk about it in terms of power exchange. And I don't need an email or a comment saying, well, you know, empathy is important in all relationships. I know.
Yes, it is.
We're going to talk about it in terms of power exchange and our views on it. That's what we're going to do. So I just want to clear that up. So I did that thing where, you know how you know what a word means because you know how to use it and you internalize the meaning, but you couldn't explain what it means to anybody. And I was like, shit, I feel like we should define what empathy means. And then I tried to define it and I went, don't think I'm doing a good job. So I went to the internet and I Googled. And actually I came up with found a post that gave the definition of empathy, and most sites say it the same way, so that part was fine. But they actually talked about 3 kinds of empathy, and I don't know that we'll dive into that in this. We're going to broadly just talk about empathy and how we view it as part of power exchange. But I wanted to point out these 3 separate types of empathy were so fascinating to me. I was like, oh, I want to share this too. So let's just start with, because I know we're all very sort of used to hearing the term empathy, even if it's not something we think about very often, it's out there. And we might be like, yeah, but what the fuck does that even mean? Especially when it's easy for the word empathy and sympathy to get used back and forth, and they do have their own distinct meanings. Empathy is the way emotional researchers define it, is the ability to sense other people's emotions coupled with the ability to imagine what someone else might be thinking or feeling. It's sort of the put yourself in someone else's shoes kind of thing. Okay, that's the way. I was not taught Kayla, you need to have empathy. I was taught, put yourself in their place. How do you think they would feel?
The old thing where you don't know what somebody's going through till you walk a mile in their shoes.
Right.
Yeah.
So in this particular article, which I will link in the show notes and I'll put in the YouTube description box later, I will link to it. So if you are interested in thinking more about empathy, and also these 3 types of empathy that apparently psychologists are defining as separate from just our big broad definition of put yourself in somebody else's position. The 3 types are cognitive, emotional, and compassionate. So I'm going to define them real quick. Cognitive is simply knowing how the other person feels and what they might be thinking. It's sometimes called perspective taking. So I think that's our basic empathy. I can imagine that awful thing that happened to you feels awful. That's our brain telling us. It's a thought process.
Or, knowing that you've been sitting at your computer for 12 hours writing content.
Like I did yesterday. And my brain went to mush.
And, how you feel when you...
And understanding I'm exhausted.
Right.
Yes, I was not outside digging ditches, but I am tired from the work I did.
Understanding what that takes from you, yes.
Right. Okay, so that's cognitive. I'm scrolling. Then we get to emotional empathy. And this one hit me because I have experienced this. Emotional empathy is when you feel physically along with the other person as though their emotions were contagious. I have felt this in a couple of ways. One, when you are sad, I am sad.
Right.
Right. When you get anxious, I get anxious. Absolutely have felt that. I also have, and it might not come under actual empathy, but it feels like it fits. So when somebody I care about deeply, my husband, my children, my mother, show me where they've gotten scratched, hurt, an injury, I look at it and I have a full body visceral sensation.
Yes.
It runs up and down my legs. It's a really weird feeling. It's not the pain that they're feeling, but it is a physical response to the emotion of, oh gosh, that must hurt. And only with people I deeply, deeply care about. Like if you want to measure how deeply I care about somebody, let them show me their injury. And will I go, oh my God, I can, because I actually feel a sensation in my body. It is really weird.
Yeah.
But yes, when you feel sad, I feel sad.
I've seen your reactions when I've come in and I've had a cut on my hand.
I don't know how to describe the feeling. It's almost like a jolt of electricity goes up and down my legs real quick. It's really weird, but yes. So the emotional empathy I relate to. Yeah. And then the final one is compassionate empathy, which I think compassionate empathy is where the conversation can go certainly towards relationships, power exchange, but also towards societally, where we're talking about why empathy is important on a much broader scale. And that is compassionate empathy. With this kind of empathy, we not only understand a person's predicament and feel with them, but are spontaneously moved to help if needed. And I would go out on a limb that this is something that certainly can happen in power exchange. A submissive sees a need of their dominant and just gets it and is like, I have to help. A dominant sees what their submissive is going through and sort of that compulsion to help from a place of empathy. So I can already see the parallels. But that was, the definition of empathy is put yourself in their place, imagine how they feel, being able to imagine how they feel. In general, that's basically it. But these 3 breakdowns I really liked. And so when I found it, I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to bring that up as a way to think about empathy as we go through the conversation with power exchange, because empathy can come out in different ways. So you have actually said this several times. I've seen several dominants talking in different spaces, both in our Discord and just online in general, where I think Master Venture over on Twitter, if you're on Twitter and you're a Kingster, definitely follow him.
Yes.
I believe he's mentioned it too, about dominance and the need for empathy. So I would love to start there because I've seen you having these conversations. And what do you think?
I think empathy, and this is my personal... I think empathy is something that's very important in a DS relationship. Without it, you kind of get that stereotypical,
what I want is all that matters.
What I want is what
say.
matters. Yeah. The stoic, and you're going to do as I say. And that is so unrealistic. And it kind of goes back to the thing that I've always felt, you don't break your toys. That goes both physically and emotionally. You're responsible just as much on one side for the physical well-being as the emotional and mental well-being of your sub. And to do that, you have to have a degree of empathy.
Right. You have to be able to sense how they might be feeling. This thing happened. What might that be doing to them on some level?
Right.
Like you said at the top, yes, yesterday I worked 12 hours at my desk, a lot of content written. No, it is not the same as manual labor in any way, shape, or form. But you knew, one, because we have that relationship, but two, you could understand I was tired.
Sure.
And so your empathy for that, you were not out there issuing a bunch of orders. You were not out there pushing me to my limits or something.
No.
You actually very much were in caregiver role. You were embodying your daddy self.
At that point, yeah, I'm more in caregiver role. What do you need? What can I do for you? You noticed last night, even though you didn't want to, like, come on, baby girl, it's time to get to bed. You need to get some rest.
I know, and it's funny because I think that something like empathy is just one part of, an infinite number of reasons why things happen. It's part of the nuance. So, from a DS perspective, you telling me when to go to bed, there is absolutely these are the rules. I'm in charge. I set this. There's that aspect. There is also, I know exactly what kind of cranky butt you're going to be tomorrow if you don't get enough sleep. There's that. And then there's I know you had a really long day today. I know you're tired. I know how tired I am. I can imagine how tired you feel. This is in your best interest as much as mine. Let's go. And so empathy does not stand alone. It's part of all of the other things that go into why certain decisions can be made.
Right.
And I think that empathy needs to be a part of why some decisions get made. Now, let's make sure we have the caveat. Sometimes your kinky play, Dom taking what Dom wants because that's hot in this moment. That we're not talking about that.
No.
That's a different thing. But in general, the decisions you make for our relationship, which obviously has my input, and the decisions you make for me, which has my consent. There are a lot of things that go into those decision processes, but empathy is one of them. What do I need? Where am I at? How might I feel now? How might I feel if you make a different decision? That's a lot to be thinking about. You must be exhausted. I just sit over here being my submissive self. You go ahead. Do all the thinking.
Well, I mean, that kind of goes without saying. Let's look at some of these things. I mean, if you, like a couple days ago, or last week towards the end of your time off, you got sick. You had a cold.
2 days on the couch.
Yeah. And believe me, as one who suffers from sinus infections, I know what that can do to you. I didn't expect anything of you. I pretty much let you lay on the sofa and sleep as much as you needed.
That I knew I was sick because that was the first time. Normally when I'm like slightly ill, I will try to power through and you have to make me sit still.
Right.
And this time I was out of it. I was like, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to be over here. And yeah, you didn't go big bad asshole on me. You were like, yeah, that's exactly what you need. Again, it goes back to empathy.
Now, as soon as you were better, that was a whole different story.
But again, it goes back to that whole empathy is just one part of the puzzle because there was the don't break your toys. There was the if you didn't let me rest, I was just going to be miserable. There is we live in the time of a plague. Nobody sick should be leaving their house if they can help it. And I didn't have to. So why would I? And then also it's I know what that's like. I know what that's going to do to her if she doesn't get her rest. Exactly. And it's that level of empathy is part of the responsibility and care that a dominant needs to have on some level, because every dynamic's different, but some level in a power exchange. Because you're making decisions that are supposed to benefit, yes, you, yes, the submissive, yes, the relationship in general.
Purely selfish reasons. I want you to be better so you can...
But again, that's the complexity of it. Like, yes, there are also the selfish reasons. I think a lot of times when we talk about empathy, we think it's supposed to like live in a box away from everything else, and it's supposed to like not interfere with all of the other reasons. Like, no, I can have a selfish reason and an empathetic reason why this is a good decision.
Yeah. But even like when your anxiety flares up, all right? When your anxiety flares up, one, there is no doming you out of it.
Right.
We learned that real quick early on.
Yeah. We tried.
Yeah, we tried, and then that failed miserably.
Yep.
So, I know, and we have been together long enough that I can generally see when your anxiety is starting to flare. I know most of the signs at this point.
Sure.
And I will turn to you and say, look, I love you. If there's anything I can do to help, let me know what I can do.
And it's weird.
To help you through this.
And that actually proves that empathy does not mean you have to have a direct understanding of what the other person's feeling. Because you have not gone through anxiety and do not have generalized or social anxiety in the way that I do. You understand nervousness, you understand worry, which are fear, are some of the base emotions of anxiety. So that also proves that you don't have to have a one-to-one understanding of that to be empathetic. To just be able to understand, gosh, that must be difficult. I cannot possibly know exactly what it feels like, but I know that's difficult, and I know that's difficult for you. And then, you follow up the empathy with, what do you need from me? How can I help? What I appreciate about you is sometimes I know exactly what I need, and I'm in a headspace where I can say, this is what I need. And sometimes I am not.
No.
And I go, I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's bad up here right now. That's a lot of what I sometimes say when I can't articulate.
Yeah.
And the next step you do, I think, is important. You do not push when you know that I can't express it the way you might need me to or want me to.
But what I will do is I'll give you your space. If you do know of something you need, I am here. Let me know.
Right. And what I love about that, and part of this is the longevity of our relationship so far as Power Exchange. So I am no longer nervous about letting you know what I need. Early days, it might have been different. But now, when you say that, I know you mean that. I know that I can come to you and say, this is what I need. Now, that does not mean that makes it automatically easier. Not because you make it difficult. The fact that you are expressing empathy and being so supportive is what makes it easy. It's in my own head where I've got the script going of, I'm supposed to be this kind of submissive. I'm supposed to be this kind of wife. I'm supposed to be this kind of mom. I'm supposed to do these things in this role. That will stop me. What will allow me to push through that momentary fear is knowing that you are so understanding on the other side. Case in point, got sick those 2 days. One of those days was the 15-year-olds band awards banquet. They did it as a picnic outside. I was like, great, the whole family can go. I didn't want to go out in nature, but I desperately wanted to see my kid get whatever accolades he might get and just be around his band friends and the homies, as he refers to them, because I've not met half of the homies yet, and I was like, I'm gonna go meet half the homies. Okay, so there we are that day, and I wake up and I'm dragging ass. I'm sick, and I'm still trying to power through it. I take my shower, I'm doing my morning stuff, I'm like getting through, and in my head I'm like, I think I'm too sick to go anywhere. I don't see how I can sit at this picnic for all this time and sit through this. And you are doing all the things you just described. What do you need? How can I help? I know you don't feel good here. Let me give you something to take. You're taking care of me, which I appreciate. And in my head, I'm thinking, I don't think I can go today. I really don't think I can go today. The thing that stopped me from saying something had nothing to do with you, had everything to do with what I wanted to be doing as both a parent and a submissive partner and, all of that. And it was not knowing, because I don't think I had a cognitive understanding. It was feeling that you would understand. And knowing that you understand those tough times and you empathize with them and you take care of me in such a way that you don't have expectations of who I am as a submissive and the tasks and the rules and the protocols and the routines. in those situations, that's what made me fall. And it was really pitiful because I'm like laying on the couch. I turn my head and I go, Daddy, Daddy. And he's like, what? I don't think I'm going today. And actually, I got the sense that you were waiting for me to admit it. You were like, hell no, you're not going today.
Right?
Like, this was a question? Well, in my mind, it was. But all of the factors that go into our relationship working so well, including up to and including your empathetic nature,
Right.
gives me the space and the safety to say the things I don't want to be true. I don't want to not do the thing I said I was going to do. I also don't want to be sick. And for you, it was a no-brainer, like, duh, you're not going. And I was like, oh, I thought it was going to be a conversation.
No.
No.
And I even took the 11-year-old, so you had pretty much half a day of...
I just slept on the couch with my dog. It was,
Yeah.
I mean, it was awful because I felt awful, but it was nice.
So, you had a quiet house.
Yeah.
It was restful.
No
there was nobody.
expectations of me and any of my other roles. My job
Right.
was to just be sick and get well and take whatever meds you handed me. Lots of Sudafed, which knocked me on my butt. That's what I learned. I had never taken Sudafed before. It makes me sleepy. So that's empathy as a dominant. Let me switch to empathy as a submissive.
Okay.
Again, can only speak from my perspective. What I've noticed about empathy, the empathy I feel for you, is in a lot of situations I can relate to how you must feel. The old job, the work stress you had with just a truly shitty boss, definitely could relate. When your sister was ill and dying, could definitely relate. What I tend to be a little overly empathetic. I only show that and let that be visible with people like you that I'm comfortable with, that I have that relationship with. What makes me kind of a wreck in other parts of life is when I'm feeling empathetic for all the things going on in the world, and I kind of get emotionally wrecked from it. So that's a thing I got to work on. But in those cases, what that led me to do from a submissive perspective was, because I also am a service submissive, my empathy for where you're at and what you're going through, especially in tough times, is to want to serve more. Now, and we've talked about this in past episodes, I have to discover the best way to serve, because sometimes what I want to do to serve is not what you need me to do.
Right.
But the desire to take care of you, because I can imagine exactly how hard something is for you. And I have those experiences and those emotions and that connection, is that I tend to find that I don't notice my own aches and pains, my own exhaustion in those moments, because my focus is on, what do you need? What can I offer that will make your life a little easier? What can I do to share the load and the burden? What can I do to make you smile and laugh? So how I act on that empathy and that care, really, is trying to figure out what is best suited to both the moment and your needs.
Yeah.
Early days, when we were still figuring ourselves out, that was a little rougher than it is now, because a bad day at work, sometimes you didn't have it in you to laugh.
Right.
You just came home and kind of like collapsed in a chair and didn't really talk to anybody. So then I learned,
Prop me up in my corner and leave me alone.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me take care of things around you that don't require your decision-making abilities, but I know you need them done. When your sister was ill, then it was, we figured out, as we've talked about before, you did not have the capacity to be a dominant. So I just took care of what I knew needed to be taken care of and eased off on the decision-making for you. I have learned that in times of high stress, your sense of humor diminishes greatly.
Yes.
See, the more stressed I am, the more I want to crack a joke. The more stressed you are, the less you tolerate that. Because you hear jokes as... like we went through this yesterday, because you were waiting for there to be an argument about something that there was no argument about. But I was cracking jokes and teasing, and you took those personally, as if I was slighting you. And then we almost got into an argument because I was like, I know you're stressed. I'm trying to make you laugh. And you're like, I don't want to laugh. So the empathy...
Let me be grumpy.
I know, right? And then I'm like, I'm dealing with my own trauma. I can't handle it when you're grumpy. This is not good for me. And then there's a clash of our bad tapes, and it's empathy is there, but then it's all mixed. It's complicated.
Muddy waters.
Very muddy waters. So I think empathy as a submissive only gets me so far. It gets me to the point of, okay, what can I do? How can I help? I know you need something because I know you're in a place right now, an emotional state. What can I do? The danger I find as a submissive, we talked about this before, I like to do, oh gosh, what's the word? Anticipatory.
Yes.
To the extent that works for us and we figure it out for ourselves. I like to anticipate your needs. Anticipating needs in an empathetic way because you're trying to help somebody, with us, has about a 50-50 shot of success. I mean, because half the time I've got it wrong. Half the time, I might not have it right when I start, but I can get it there. Like, I can tease you into it. I can pull you into it. What would be better, and it's where I fail, my empathy pushes me to want to take care of it, you, the thing, whatever.
Yeah.
My anticipatory service submission makes me want to fix it without consulting you. And then when I remember, wait, don't, that did not go well last time, and I talk to you, then my impatient nature has to take over, because most of the time when you're in that space where things are rough or bad for you, and yeah, I'm as empathetic as I can be, but you don't want the help I can offer, or you're not there yet, then you're like, I don't want to talk about it right now. We'll deal with this later. Just, I need some time and space. And and it is right and proper that I go, okay. But in my head, I'm like, I don't want to. I want to fix this right now. And I have learned, there's a lot. I'm a fixer, so there's that. We've talked about that before in past episodes. But also, it is the nature of the people I empathize with, and I empathize with a lot of people, but especially the people I love and care about and, I'm married to. The idea of you being in distress puts me in distress. Yeah. And it's a physical, it goes back to that, that both the emotional and cognitive empathy, I physically feel it and I am compelled to help you. But if the other person doesn't want that, then you can't be forcing that on people. And so then, then it's a consent thing. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I got to back up because I'm about to hit a limit and a point where you don't want what I'm offering. And that is actually, that's my problem to deal with, but that is also hard for me. That's not your problem to deal with, but yeah. So.
Well, it's a tough thing. And I had this little thought. Remember how we talk about communication?
When? All the times or just some of the times?
Yeah. And those times.
Those times.
And we talked about how, when somebody comes to you and they tell you they need to talk, and as a good listener, you tell them, well, do you just need an ear to chew on? Do you need validation? Or do you want advice?
Right.
And I think the whole empathic thing kind of leans the same way.
Yeah. Because I feel like empathy is not just listening with your ears, it's listening with, like, your whole self.
Yeah.
Because ideally, you're putting yourself in somebody's position.
But, just like me, I mean, sometimes I like to try and think things through first myself. So, when you come to me and you say, what can I do to fix this?
Let me help you, please.
Yeah. Sometimes I just need to be left alone to noodle things for a while. And
quite frankly, that is the mature, responsible answer to most of it. Most of the time when we rush in to fix a thing, we just fuck it up some more. And I know that, and I don't, in my own self, I'm the same way. I take my time to try and think things through. But yeah, it's it's like the not great side of empathy. I feel what you're feeling, and I don't want you to be feeling that, and I am now in distress because you are distressed. And what happens is I make my distress the center of everything, which is not good. Yeah. You are the one in distress. I am just relating a little too well. And it really needs to
You're in distress by proxy.
Yes. That is a very real thing. There is a very real reason I had to take Twitter off my phone. Everybody's thoughts and feelings were coming at me, and I was relating to all of them.
Well, there are a number of people who are such natural empaths. They can pick up
Oh, God, yeah.
feelings from people all around.
I can tell you a vibe when I walk in a room. That one's having a bad day. That one's mad at somebody.
That in and of itself is draining on people.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, that can be exhausting.
It's exhausting.
So
yeah. And from what I have, thankfully, maybe this is why I don't like being around too many people and picking up too much damn energy. I don't know. Look, we have entered the woo-woo section of things.
Right.
You've been forewarned. I'm not a woo-woo person, I think. But yes, it's a vibe thing. And yeah, I think the one thing I'll say, your empathic abilities or your ability to empathize, my ability to empathize, what it can do when we remember to like stop trying to fix things, is it can make a person a good listener. Because there is something about telling you about a thing, good, bad, or otherwise, that I know you don't completely relate to, you haven't gone through it, you don't know exactly what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
But knowing that you will lean into that empathy and at least make the attempt to sort of try to understand,
right,
and can understand on an abstract level, makes it easier then to tell you more things, which I would go back and say that is another thing, a reason to maybe work that empathy muscle, because I think it can make you a better listener. Now, it can make, it can also make you a basket case. It can also make you a chronic fixer who annoys everybody because you're like, look, I'm feeling what you're feeling and I don't want to feel this way, so let us fix this together. I've got a 5-step plan for you. Okay, and that is not, that's not what most people want or need. But if you can figure out the balance of how to express your empathy and how to be empathetic, then yeah, now you're doing the hardest part of communication, which is listening and taking in what the other partner is saying, that they're saying with their words, they're saying with their energy, and that they're expressing based on their needs that maybe even they're not even expressing yet, that they're working up to. Another, I'd like to get your take on this. Empathy. Let's get to the fun stuff, because empathy can be a heavy topic.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think, or do you think, empathy comes into play in kinky fuckery? In the kinky shit we do?
Ooh. Ooh.
I made him say ooh.
Well, I think I could say to the fact that, like, when you would come to me and say, Daddy, my skin feels tight.
Yes, that was my code for I'm very anxious.
That was your code for you're very anxious, that you were anxious. Mm-hmm. And at that point, I knew what you were asking for. You wanted to be spanked.
A cathartic spanking.
A cathartic spanking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, that kind of plays into it.
Yeah.
In that aspect.
Being able to give me what I need, even when I can't just say.
When you can't articulate it.
I'm better now. Be like, look, when the fuck are you going to spank me again? Because I can really use it. I'm way better than I used to be.
Yeah.
So, I can think of a way, and I don't think it's totally empathy. I think it's back to empathy as one part of a complex, nuanced thing. But I think about the energy exchange you and I have gone through during kink scenes. So even though from the outside looking in, some scenes, certainly our scenes, can look like I'm a passive participant. I am strapped to the cross. I'm laid over the spanking bench. Mm-hmm. I'm on the bed. I'm not really moving. I'm just presenting my ass. Happy to do. And you were doing all the work. Now, clearly you were getting something from that, or it wouldn't be this mutual great thing that we do. And I'm clearly getting something from it as well. But I know that you and I, between one another, in some scenes, definitely at clubs. God, I can't wait till we're really post-plague. But we start to feed on one another, this back and forth. We sometimes are speaking, sometimes we're not. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's you strike with a toy a certain way and my body moves in a certain way towards it, away from it.
Right.
We start the dance. Sometimes it's truly a dance on Kayla's tippy toes because you're hitting in certain ways that you know are going to make me react a certain way. You're doing it to get the reaction. I give you the reaction, one, because I can't help it, but two, I know it's going to lead to other things. And there are there's a lot of factors at play there, but I wonder if empathy on some level couldn't be part of it. Not to where we can each understand how the other is physically feeling, but that emotional...
Feeding the emotional level. Yeah.
Like, I know that when I do... I'm making these noises or moving my body because that's what's feeling natural. It's not like I'm forcing myself to do it. But I also know consciously that when I do this, you will react this way and you will respond this way because you will feel empowered or sadistic or whatever, satisfied in some way. And so it's a chicken and egg thing. Which one happened first to start this process? But it was... Maybe it's a bit of understanding how the other feels about not just what is being done to them or you're doing, but also how we respond to it. And we feed that. And it's an energy exchange. Here we are at the woo-woo.
It's a cycle.
But
it's a cycle. You feed me, I feed you.
Is part of that some form of empathy? Maybe not completely, maybe not even like, it might just be a teeny tiny little bit. But are we able to have that kind of energy exchange because we understand and feel the pleasure we are both receiving and giving? I know how good I feel. I also know how good you feel. And so that feeds itself.
I think that makes total sense. Because I'm giving you what you need. And in return, if you're enjoying what I'm giving you, it feeds back to me.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Right.
And we're going back and forth.
Yeah.
And we know, especially when it's this doesn't happen every scene, but sometimes it all clicks. Like, it's...
Sure.
Everything is running perfectly smoothly. It's as if you choreographed it. It's as if it was meant to be exactly whatever you just did in that scene. For us, that's a lot of impact play. And when... It's almost a flow state. When we hit that state, we are speaking to one another without ever exchanging physical words. We are speaking with actions and looks and body movement.
Right.
And there's a pleasure in not just receiving what we get from that, but giving the pleasure to the other person.
And sometimes that energy overflows to others.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had people come up to us after a scene, like, oh my God, that was wonderful. I could feel, this, I feel that.
I live for those moments. Those moments.
And, prior to everything that happened in the world, I used to go to the clubs. I unlike you, I love watching scenes.
I don't at all.
and I felt that on that level too. Watching other people, I could, their emotional give and take overflowed.
And I remember watching a scene like that one time, and I was like, damn.
Yes.
I wish I was a voyeur because this shit's hot.
Yep. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, that was an impact play scene, and that was we actually once watched two scenes happening simultaneously, and they were throwing the energy back and forth. And I know somebody out there's like, they're throwing the energy. Look, all I'm saying is this scene on the right was fairly intense, and they were in their moment and their bubble, kind of like what I just described with us.
Right.
And then over here, these people were in their bubble, going back and forth with each other, and they were in perfect flow states, and they were in it together. And then something, I don't know what happened, but next thing you know, their rhythms matched up to each other.
Their bubbles intersected.
Oh my God, it was a Venn diagram of kink energy, and it was fucking amazing. And I was like, I hate watching, but I am so glad I'm here for this. As an exhibitionist, though, when we hit that state, and it does, like I said, it does not happen all the time. When we hit that state with one another, and somebody else can be like, I watched that and I felt that, and that, I'm like, yeah, I did that. I didn't do shit. But my good girl side comes out. I'm like, oh, okay. Because, one, I like to be praised for having done well. Two, there is a thing of kind of just knowing you just had this really positive, good experience, and to know that others felt that, there's a little validation there. But also, I like to throw out good vibes. I don't. Sure. I'm too cranky, but I like to throw out good vibes. So, I think I think, as with all things, we talk about topics like empathy as if they are black and white binary things and that they exist in a bubble and they don't touch anything else. I think it is just, it's one sliver of a pie. It's part of the complexity of how we make decisions, how we care for one another. If I were to break it down in simple ways, what I would say is, if you're a dominant or a top, empathy is going to help you make decisions about what a submissive needs or what's going to happen in your relationship, because you are, even if you're not verbally asking for, what do you need, you are taking their needs into account. And we should be taking each other's needs into account, and there should be the actual conversation of, well, what do you need, what would help, blah, blah, blah. But when you have empathy for your partner and can put yourself in that position and know how difficult something is, how tired they are, how whatever, even on the positive side, then you can help. You can do things that hopefully don't make that worse or make it better, and make better decisions. As a submissive, I think empathy with your dominant, depending on how your submission plays out, can help you give your dominant what they need most as you learn it. I don't think just because you have empathy for somebody, you know exactly what needs to be done. You know what you might need to be done, but that might not be what somebody else needs. But I think it puts us in a better place of understanding. And so then trying to find the right solution to something. And sometimes the solution is there is no solution and you do nothing but get through it. But trying to figure that out together, because again, this goes back to another topic we've done, which is on teamwork and the fact that we are a team. Right. And we're trying to get to the same place together. We're trying to get the same outcome together. And empathy is a part of making sure that there's the together in it. Right. And we are taking each other's feelings into consideration. So I think empathy as a submissive can help you submit and serve and give whatever it is you do in your submission to your dominant partner. Dominant, I think it helps you make better decisions. Together, yes. I think it keeps you in that teamwork frame of mind. Because if we are in this together and we are not adversaries, the only time we ever might come across as being on opposite ends of anything is when we're playing. Because you're giving and I'm taking, and maybe I'm play fighting back, and maybe you're play fighting, and then it looks like we're opposite. It's a yin and yang kind of thing. Yeah. But in the relationship, the empathy for one another helps as one part of a broader, nuanced spectrum. Helps you come together to try to find the best solution for both of you. I think where things go wrong is when one partner is empathetic to the other, but the other is not at all empathetic. That whole crap trope of I'm the dom, I get what I want, I do what I want, your needs don't matter, fuck you and the horse you rode, and on. I have no fucking time for that shit, okay?
Tell me how you really feel about it.
I mean, I could. I think I just did. Because, yes, there are times in scenes and in kink moments where that's hot and great and go for it. And we play with that. Yeah. But to make a relationship, like a power exchange, work, it can't be one-sided or it's not going to work. You've either burnt out your submissive, you've built resentment, people aren't getting what they need, it's toxic, it's potentially abusive. Like, there are a lot of things that go wrong. Yeah. And so if all you can imagine is what you care about and what is good for you, and you can't even try to figure out in whatever method will work best for you to how the other person feels, then you're not a team. You're in no way a team. Now, sometimes I'm kind of glad I'm not in charge, because you can be empathetic with where I'm at and what I feel, and believe, and usually be right, that the decision you have to make might not make me feel better in the moment. Mm-hmm. You are empathetic to the fact that when I'm tired, I feel like I haven't gotten any time to rest and relax at the end of my day, and I don't want to go to bed on time because I want to watch more YouTube, and that would make me happy. You are empathetic to it, but you know that the right decision is to go my ass to bed on time so I can handle tomorrow. Right. So empathy is not a catch-all where you just make perfect decisions. You do sometimes have to make decisions that empathize with the problem, but a different decision has to be made to be best for everybody. To be, especially from perspective of a dom to be best for what I need. But yeah.
Well,
So.
it's just the same too. You know, there's that little bit of a stigma that, you know, as a dom you shouldn't show emotions. Okay, and I think to a certain extent there's the same kind of thing with empathy. You know, and that it makes you weak. And it doesn't. I think overall it makes you stronger. Yes.
I think it makes you stronger. I think it can make you a better communicator. I think it's not an automatic. I think it can make for stronger relationships. I think it can make for better scenes. I think it's not the magic bullet. It's not the magic pill to fix everything. I also think, like anything, it's a skill. If you have lived enough of a life of privilege in whatever way that might mean that it's never occurred to you to think what somebody else might be thinking or feeling. I think that you can learn that. I think that there may be people who are just wired a certain way where that's difficult. What I would say is if you want to learn more empathy, I think it starts with learning how to listen, to truly listen. Yeah. Not to hear in order to respond,
and
but
observe.
Listen to take in information and to maybe ask questions. Get curious about people, right? Like the lack of empathy in a broad view tends to look like from the outside, looks like all you care about is you and yours, and you don't actually care about anybody else. And I think sometimes for some people that is true. They just don't. And okay. I think sometimes it's you've not had to. Like something about your life, you've always been around the exact same kind of people as you, or you've never really interacted with people different from you. And so you thought you could safely assume, you know, we all have the same experiences. I don't have to actually try to empathize with you. But I think it's a skill worth practicing. I think even if you are an empathetic person, it's still a skill that needs practicing. Listening, asking questions, genuinely caring what the other person that you're interacting with is telling you and conveying to you, and getting rid of the assumption that you are always right or your take on something. I say this as a person who follows her gut a lot and my instincts a lot. My gut and instinct are not always right. Just because a thought popped into my head does not mean it is the right one. Okay. I think empathy also is a little bit of letting go of your ego a bit. Not completely, but it means having to come away from yourself a little bit and go, let me see if I can imagine what that person's feeling. That person has had a different experience than mine. It is no better or worse than my experiences. Let me see if I can relate to it. And I think for some people, it's also ego-driven, that they don't think they have to, that everybody knows. I get very twitchy when I start hearing, well, everybody knows this is how this should go, or everybody feels this way. Everybody don't feel shit, y'all. I'm not yelling at y'all, because I know y'all get it. That's why y'all are here, but the general y'all of the people I see on the internet, which is why I had to delete Twitter off my phone. Thanks. No, everybody doesn't get it. Everybody doesn't have those experiences. And that shouldn't hold us back from empathy either. So I think empathy is super, super duper important in general. I think it has helped many a power exchange relationship. I think empathy absolutely plays a part in good kink scenes. So, do you have anything else you'd like to say about empathy? I think we've made our views clear. I also think it's a big, complex subject, and there's going to be nuance, and every situation will be slightly different. Sure. So the way we view it might not be quite how you view it, and that's okay. Or the things we've experienced with empathy in our relationship might not relate to your own, and I think that's okay. I think just thinking about empathy and how you can be more empathetic, or how your empathy has led you astray, says the submissive who has totally tried to fix shit that was not hers to fix because I was feeling it too much. So yeah, I think that's it. And Juniper in the live stream chat said something that I think is also important. So there's a difference between being an empath, which tends to be those of us who like feel all the energy, high things, and being empathetic. So I think people get stuck on the potential woo-woo and never bother to hone the skill of empathy because they don't believe in that. And I would agree. There is a difference between being an empathic person who just, I can feel all the things and it's too much and I can't handle crowds, versus sitting one-on-one with a person or thinking about a group of people and being and empathizing and learning how to empathize with those unique individual feelings with this person you're dealing with or this thing that you're encountering that maybe a group of people have experienced. I mean, racism and BDSM is totally a fucking thing. And if you have been on the privileged side of never experiencing that, yeah, you're going to have to work to empathize. But that's not a woo-woo thing. That's I'm going to go deep, do some listening, pay attention, hear what people are saying, and figure out how I can empathize with certain things so that maybe I can be, I can change things for the better and I can be part of that change. That also being empathetic means you need to be consciously thinking about the fact that people have different experiences than you and their experiences are valid and the way their feelings are valid. Feelings are valid. How we handle feelings, we got to work on. There can be differences there, but just understanding that other people can have the same experience as you and walk away with a different experience of it. Like they can do the same activity you did, be in the same room with you, and have a completely different take on it and completely different experience of it. And then trying to empathize with that. Like, okay, what don't I know? What questions do I need to ask? Google is your friend. Don't just randomly ask random people to educate you on things. I'll just put that disclosure out there. What do I need? Who do I need to listen to? How do I become more empathetic about this? And it is a skill. Yeah. But yes, the empath thing, that's where I would go woo-woo. But being empathetic to another person or group of people, that's a skill. So yes, thank you, Jenny, for that. Yep. Okay, I went on another tangent because that's what I do. But we're gonna stop now because, like I said, this is a broader topic that leads into every facet of life, not just kink. So yeah, we could go on and on, but we're not gonna. So we are gonna do a bonus section. And I think that's it. Yeah. Yes.
Are we good?
I don't know.
Okay.
Keep it kinky, y'all. And we'll see you next week. Daddy.
Yes, baby girl.
Can I talk to the crickets, please?
You always want to talk to the crickets.
Do I love the crickets?
Okay, baby girl, go ahead.
Thank you. I would like to report back that last week's episode closing to go from the end of the episode to the bonus section, JB was not as amused as I was by that. And if you don't know what I'm referring to, it's episode 267. Just fast forward to the bonus section. In YouTube, I do timestamps. I thought I was brilliant. I thought I played the part of JB very well in that reenactment. He did not necessarily agree, but he did laugh. He laughed very hard. Okay, so we're in the bonus section. What have I got? Not much. I want to thank Lola for not snoring through the entirety of today's episode. I think she's dozing, not sleeping. She's got an ear flopped. She's on her side. She's living her best Lola life. The cats are, I don't know what they are. I feel like we need to get them couples counseling. Onyx nose booped Ella yesterday. And Ella did not beat the crap out of her. So we're going to call that progress. Also, though, Onyx is avoiding the 15-year-old and is being very slow to warm up to him because he smells of Ella. So there's that. Ella, I woke up this morning, was rolling over on my pillow and opened my eye, and Ella was staring at me. I was like, oh, hello, which meant that Onyx was nowhere near. So they are still, I think that's just going to be a soap opera we're going to get to watch play out for the rest of our lives. This coming weekend, and actually podcast listeners, the day this episode comes out, it'll be that day, that Friday. My mom is coming to town.
Yeah.
And she was going to bring her beagle, her 8 or 9 month old beagle, Max, because she doesn't like to leave him alone too much. And my stepdad is not around to take care of him during the day the way that she does. And so she was going to bring him. She's now since texted and said, no, I think Max will be okay, but I'm raising and taking care of a 6-month-old puppy that was just born. Can I bring that? And I'm like, yes. I never get to be around puppies. I need to text her back and go, do I need to buy extra pee pads? Like, what is happening here?
Right.
And if you're like, what's your mom doing? What my mom should do, my mom should either open a rescue or be a foster is what she should do.
Yeah.
She loves animals. She loves dogs. But the reality is that my stepfather hunts, and he hunts with dogs, and he and his friends, they help each other when like they've got a pregnant dog, and where can I need to let this dog have a space to safely give birth and away from my other dogs. And like all his hunting friends are like, so many dogs, there's so many dogs. Now he's got a ton of property, and so it's a good space to have a lot of dogs where they live. But my mom has kind of earned the reputation for helping mama dogs when they have like a big old litter of babies, help get them through. And when those babies get sick, because there's not a lot of vet care in this world, in this hunting world that my stepfather inhabits. I have thoughts about that, but that's not the place for it. So she ends up nursing a lot of little babies, and she loses some, sadly. They had a couple of outbreaks of parvo in their dog area that, oh my God, was devastating. And then she, kind of gets the little ones to where the healthy ones that make it to where they need to be, and then she gets to say goodbye to them, and they go back to whoever is the dog parent for that mama dog and those puppies, and then blah blah blah. And every so often they do this trade where it's like, oh, you help my dog have her babies, you can keep one. And then my mom's like, look, I have a puppy. I wish, and I don't know, maybe she's lived multiple lives so far in her 60 years on this planet. I hope one day she, like I said, either starts a rescue or just becomes a foster dog mom, because I think she would totally, that would be her thing. That would totally be her jam. So yes, she's going to be traveling to us with a 6-week-old puppy. And I'm like, okay. So, but, yeah, so that's happening. The 11-year-old's going to spend more than a month at his grandma's house.
Yep.
So there's that happening. What else? You and I have been doing lots of businessy things, which we actually, we won't go into that here because we did a whole behind the scenes podcast for our Patreon. That's where we talk about that kind of stuff mostly. Yeah. But now that I've talked about it, I feel like I have nothing else to talk about because all we've been eating, sleeping, breathing has been business stuff lately. We are going to go into serious clean mode before my mom gets here on Friday. Yeah. So she does not expect perfection. She knows we are 4 people. We work at home. We got a dog and 2 cats. Like she's always said, you don't have to clean for me. I'm like, no, but you raised me up. I have to clean. I saw what you did before family came to visit when I was a kid. I know what I have to do. But also, we've been in this house for over a year. She's never seen it. She's never been in it.
Right.
And it's quite lived in and smells of dog and cat. And I'm like, it's going to smell of dog and cat. That's the nature of this. And I know we're nose blind to it. But also, I want the first impression she has of our house, which I'm very proud that we have this house, to not be wet dog. So I will be that child who is the whirling dervish of cleaning. I have already assigned tasks to everyone, including JB. Everybody knows what they'll need to be doing, and I will keep everybody on task. And we're starting Thursday. We're going into Friday. And I know the house won't be that clean again until the next time she comes, which thankfully will be about 5 weeks later, so I won't have to do quite as much. And then, like, whenever she comes again, that's when we'll do deep cleans. We'll just time them with my mom's visits, and she will be she will know what I've done because she used to do it. So it's not like she's going to think we live in this clean, tidy place. But she knows. She's like, you don't have to do it. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I also know who raised me. Hi, I know what we do. I know what we do before company comes. It's now in my DNA. Sorry. So, Oh, Silent Winged asked what happens with the Patreon live stream. I've got to post another reminder in Patreon. Normally, on the first Saturday of every month, we do a live Q&A. I popped a thing in at the end of May. I'll pop another thing in this week. We are postponing that by a week, so that will happen on June 12th. So if anybody's ever been interested in Patreon, then when you join at any level, you get access to a live Q&A every month. But we have moved that for this month because... I mean, my mom would be chill, but I don't want to do that while she's in the other room. Thanks. So, so we've pushed everything else out of the way for this weekend. It's just, but I also have not had a visit with my mom in about 15, 16 months, and I haven't actually physically seen her face in a year. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
And also my aunt and uncle bought a house during the plague, and we haven't gotten to see that yet either.
Just like they haven't got to see our house
there's going to be a lot of show and tell between the two houses.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, that's mostly... I front-loaded... The reason I had a really long day before recording and was so long at my computer was because I was trying to get as much work done at the early part of the week, so the later part of the week I could focus on getting the house ready. Lola's got to get a bath. She's got to go to the vet. That's an expensive vet bill. Whew. Because she needs her allergy shot and her nails clipped and her 2 tests and a checkup. And every time we go... So our vet does this... you can earn points and rewards that you can then use for like $1 off your vet visits. And when we go, and it is so expensive for her every time they're like, you've earned so many rewards, we can take $30 off your bill. I'm like, you go for it.
Have at it.
Please and thank you.
Yep, have at it.
Yeah, between the medications and just her quarterly visits. And I'm like, keep me on that reward plan. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I like this vet because they use a system, which I know is like a vet system, like that's available nationwide kind of deal, where I can use an app to request appointments and refills. I can confirm appointments by text. I store all of their information in the app, and so like it's all just there. And I'm just like, and I love the people who work at our vet. They are wonderful.
They are wonderful people. They really are. They really are.
So yeah, we've got all that. There's just, as always, I don't know why every week, I'm like, oh gosh, there's so much going on. There's always so much going on. All that is life. I wouldn't know what to do if there wasn't so much going on. I'd be like, I don't know what to tell you. There is less going on. Then I know me. I catastrophize. I'd be like, why is there less going on? Why are we not as busy? What is wrong? What has happened here? And I would have to find the reason, which would then make me a basket case, and so much would be going on.
There you go.
I fix the problem by finding a problem and making it a problem. I am an enigma. Yeah, okay, I guess that's all I got. I want to keep talking to y'all. I'm having a good time chatting with y'all. Also, we started recording at 9 o'clock this morning. We batch recorded all the mini podcast episodes for the month of June.
Yep.
We recorded next week's video. Now we're doing this and apparently recording 5 things and then getting me here to do this. I'm on fire. But also I'm energized because I get energy from doing this.
Sure.
I will crash later. I get a lot of energy from doing this.
Yeah.
So I could keep going, but I won't because somebody's giving me a look.
And my big news, Friday.
That's right.
My motorcycle came home.
That's right, I forgot. Your motorcycle did come home. You've ridden it 2 or 3 times now?
3 times.
Yep,
Riding home from the shop, I took the very long route home.
Was it nice on all the levels? You can decide all the levels to feel the motorcycle under you again.
Oh, yeah.
To have your legs wrapped around it again.
Oh, yeah.
I'm jealous of both the motorcycle and you. I mean, I'd like to both wrap my legs around and be wrapped around.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Hey,
we're already demonetized on YouTube. Let's just go for fucking broke now.
Go for broke. But yeah, it came home. It actually came in $200
cheaper
than what they than what they quoted me for, which I was really very happy about. Told me a lot about the shop.
Yeah.
Just in that alone. And they did a fantastic job. they did a fantastic job. I mean, they took their time. They went through everything, looked at it. It wasn't even really as bad as I thought. Now, they redid the fuel lines. Yeah, exactly, Mr. Spa. You actually made it back from the shop without having to go back immediately back.
But you were also paranoid. You were looking for gas leaks every morning after you got home.
The first couple mornings I went out
leaking?
there. Okay, is it leaking? Is it leaking? No, they actually redid the fuel lines the way the fuel lines are supposed to be done.
Yeah. Yes.
So,
and charged you less.
And charged me less.
Than they said they might. It was still a lot of money.
It was. But, yeah, so Friday, Saturday morning, I was up and out on the bike, and it was just beautiful. It was an early morning ride. The sun was just coming up. The air was still cool. And we live very close to a lot of state parks and national forests. So there's a lot of open country road. So Saturday and Sunday I was out riding both mornings, and it was just absolutely amazing and wonderful. And yesterday and today, I realized that it had been such a long time that I've been seriously riding a bike. My calves are retaliating.
You're going to have to work out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm not riding yet because you have to get your...
It's been a while, and I need to I need to get my comfort level back a little bit too before I start taking anybody riding.
And I understand that. Right now, I couldn't wear a pair of jeans that I currently own. That if you paid me, those are not going up over these hips. They are not buttoning. They're not zipping. So I don't want to buy new jeans just to ride on the bike.
Yeah.
Give it a minute.
and Mr. Spot, the bike I have now that I've had. It has only ever had ethanol-free gas in it. Somebody told me that years ago. I've always put ethanol-free gas, and when I know I'm not going to ride the bike for a while, I will turn the petcock off, run the bike till the carburetor is empty, and even the guy at the shop said that saved my carburetor. I did not have to have any carburetor work done. By doing that between the ethanol and keeping the carburetor dry in between, that saved my carb from having to be.
So for those of you like me who do not speak engines, motorcycles, or anything mechanical, let me interpret. Bike go vroom vroom for a long time with the right gas in it. Put your cute helmet on and let's go. That's all I fucking heard. I offer my translating services to those who need them. There we go.
Good job. Good job, girl.
I have a brand new helmet that has purple butterflies all over it. I still haven't gotten to wear it and ride it out because we got moved. We were getting the bike fixed finally. We were super excited. We bought new helmets. You got yours scraped up.
Yeah.
I still haven't worn mine, and the bike's been it hasn't been fixed and rideable in what, a year and a half, 2 years, maybe longer.
3 years.
3 years. Yeah. Thank God that thing's paid for. If we were paying a note on it, I'd be so mad.
Yeah.
I'd be so mad. So.
And yeah, X, that's absolutely true. Any small two-stroke, all the mowers, any mowers I use, anything like that small gas engine, all gets the ethanol free, and I even put seafoam in there so the gas stays stable.
Let me translate for those of you like me who are like, put the right things in your vroom vroom, and it will continue to go vroom vroom for you.
Very good. You're good at this. You're good at this. You have a future.
I do. Somebody should give me an internet connection and a microphone. I could do wonders.
Keep up the good work.
We're in a good mood if you can't tell.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
I think that's it.
I can't believe I forgot the motorcycle. I feel bad. I'm sorry. I forgot the motorcycle. Okay.
I didn't.
No, I know. We know. So I think that's it for us this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be back next week
Mm-hmm.
in our glory. I don't know what the topic will be, but I got a lot of ideas.
Oh, yeah.
And some big topics. Kind of like empathy is kind of a big topic, but it's I got some.
Mm-hmm.
We're coming with it. Anyway, talk to you later.
Yep.
We'll be back next week. All that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Love you guys. Thanks for being here with us. Bye.
Bye.